All right, y'all. Welcome to another episode of ONE THE PRST Podcast. On this episode, I got Marvin Francois. And as you know, ONE THE PRST Podcast, we like to connect with entrepreneurs, movers, shakers, business people, anyone and everyone who's on the pursuit towards making something happen. I happened to run across Marvin just online. And honestly, I had an opportunity to take in a lot of his YouTube content. And I was further drawn to him. He's dropping a lot of information on, just changing generational curses, getting into it on the personal side of the credit, on the business side of the credit, and just overall a lot of stuff for you guys to tap into. So I want to welcome my guest, Marvin Francois.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here and just connect with you and your audience. Let's do it.
Yeah, man, this is going to be great. And normally at the end of the podcast, I like to pull, an affirmation card. I got the money deck that recently just came out. And since we're going to be talking about things that kind of deal with money, I felt like it was good for us to tap into a card. So I'm going to pull one right now. So for the audience that's viewing, you guys can see exactly what's going down. For the ones that are listening on the actual podcast, you guys just got to use your imagination. So what does this one say?
I master my money. Money doesn't master me. I like that one.
Yeah, just so you guys know, I did not preamp that selection. That was a random pull. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, welcome you to the episode. I really just wanted to pull a card to kind of set the tone, Right. And like I said, I was really drawn to your content because you're very charismatic, and you teach a subject that I think is vital, for a lot of people, especially our people, but I think and also young people. I think it's vital in, at least growing up from my perspective, it was always looked at something that was like boring, or something that you avoided or something that you just didn't really tap into. But I feel like the way that you're putting your energy on it and you're spending it, and right now we're like super in the digital information age. Now is a time that like all access is available to whoever is seeking it out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So really, I just wanted to kind of open up and have you share a little bit of your story and just talk about how you started your journey.
Okay, let's do it. All right. So to formally introduce myself, what's going on, everybody? My name is Marvin Francois. I'm a 23-year-old entrepreneur, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, and I'm the owner and founder of Francois Capital LLC. Basically, Francois Capital LLC is my credit repair company where we specialize in removing negative items from people's credit report, along with providing the tools, information, and resources people need to repair, rebuild, and learn how to leverage their personal credit to bring them one step closer to financial freedom. So I came into the space late 2020. I've been in it ever since then, and it's been very good to me. And it's an amazing position for me to be in because, to your point, I'm in a field that's connected to a topic that isn't really touched much on within our community as Black people. And I'm very thankful and grateful to be able to have a platform that I've created and a business that I've created to not only educate people on it, but once again, help put them in position to actually use it to, do whatever it is that they need to do within their day-to-day lives. So it's a beautiful thing, man.
So was this credit repair company, and then also your because it's not just credit repair, it's capital in general. So is this your first entrepreneurship journey, or did you have a business prior to this? Tell us about that.
If this was my first journey, first entrepreneurial journey, I'll be lying to you. Let me tell you something, man. The amount of business ventures I've dibbled and dabbled in is absolutely insane. I've sold T-shirts. I've sold what else? I used to have try and sell cabinets. Bro, listen, I'm trying to tell you, I'm all over, man. A hand soap. I tried having a hand soap and lotion business at one point in time. I've worked in a construction. I've helped manage a construction company and my father owns. It's definitely been a lot of different like business and entrepreneurial ventures that I've experimented with. So no, this is definitely not my first one.
So how'd you stumble on get into the credit industry, seeing that the industries that you were in prior, obviously you may, you're going to deal with credit here and there, but seeing that a lot of them didn't directly deal with credit, how'd you end up getting into the credit industry?
So COVID changed everything for me, right? So outside of, I mean, I don't know if you would consider this entrepreneurial, but fun fact, before I got into the credit space, I was actually doing stand-up comedy full time, right? So I actually come from a comedic background. That's why a lot of times when
I
you
can
see
see that. I can see that now more on the content. And if
Right.
you guys have not tapped into Marv, trust me, once you get to that YouTube page,
yeah,
even that Instagram page, you're gonna see that personality come out more, and he's able to really like
right.
swag it out on a topic, which I feel like is incredible because it makes it way more interesting.
Right. So a lot of people don't know that I actually come from a comedy background. Like comedy was my first love. And coming into the year of 2020, I was actually 3 years into being a stand-up comedian full time.
Mm.
At the time, at that time, I had a pretty good amount of success for where I was at in my career. You know, being 3 years in within the world of stand-up comedy, I had already, toured across the country. I had already headlined shows in New York City, headline shows at colleges. I'd started to build up a social media presence. I was well on my way, but then the pandemic happened, and that was like the first time in my career that I was ever forced to like sit down. Like when you in the, and this is the same for entrepreneurship as well. We're on go mode 24/7. We're always on the next move. We're always thinking about the next play, the next connection, the next resource, all of that, right? So same thing kind of goes with being a stand-up comedian, which is like why I kind of liken it to entrepreneurship, because you're building your name, you're building your brand, you're building this business, if that's what you want to call it. And the pandemic was the first time I really sat down and looked and really just looked at my career and put perspective into a lot of things. And although I had a good amount of success within stand-up comedy at the time, my bank account didn't necessarily reflect that. Right? Now, I'm the kind of person where I know what I'm getting into. I always make sure I know what I'm getting into before I get into it. And I knew what I wanted out of stand-up comedy, but I also knew how long it was going to take me to get there. And being a first son, having older parents, and having the responsibility and the obligations that I had at the time, I'm like, okay, cool, this comedy thing is going well. But actually, what happened was my father caught COVID at the time, and my father's a little bit older. COVID didn't really fancy people who were either older or had breathing problems. And that was like my first time seeing my father being bedridden for like 2 weeks. My father's 64 years old. I've never seen him stay in bed past 8 a.m. To see that a guy like that, you understand, be stuck in bed for like 2 weeks straight, not eating, not nothing, kind of just trying to heal up through this process, along with not being able to do what it is that I thought I was gonna, do comedy, which is what I was trying to use to establish myself and support my family, take care of my family, put everything into perspective for me. And I'm kind of just locked up in the crib, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, yo, comedy's great, but the bank account says otherwise. And seeing my father in that bed, I'm like, yo, if my pops passed today, me being the first son, am I in position? Do I have something to where I can sustain myself, sustain my mother, sustain my brother, do what I have to do? And the answer to that question was no. I was like, all right, cool. So now you have a decision to make. You either keep doing this thing that you're doing, and you're gonna become. I knew I was gonna become successful. It was never a matter of if. It was really more so a matter of when.
When, yeah.
Or you can pivot into a field that will allow you to start generating cash flow a little bit sooner than this comedy thing will allow you to do, but also help you to still have a positive impact on the people around you. So that's kind of where the bouncing around came out. You see what I was talking about, having a t-shirt company and hand soap. I was just bouncing, like, right? I tried selling t-shirts, didn't work. Tried selling hand soap, didn't work. I tried wholesaling real estate. That was terrible. Never again in my life. You couldn't pay me to wholesale again. But then how I stumbled into it, I'm not sure if you're familiar with a gentleman by the name of Herman Dulce, aka Haitian CEO.
I haven't met him yet.
He's one of the more popular names within the business funding and credit space. He was an individual that I was connected to through a friend of a friend, and I've been following him for some time because he has a credit repair company that's very well known. And at the time of me bouncing around, I had just started building my credit up, right? And I started experimenting with like different little hacks and tips and tricks like that on, how to different ways to build your credit, get certain negative items off, this and this. So I started doing my own little DIY credit repair on my own, and I didn't even know it. And I kept just telling everybody around me, mom, dad, girlfriend at the time, homies, cousins, like, yo, if you do this, you can get your score up to this and this. And yo, did you know about Equifax? If you do this, da, 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 da. And as I'm telling people about it, like, yo, you seem like you really like this credit stuff. Like, you should think about doing it seriously. I'm like, yeah, y'all bugging, y'all tripping, man. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, maybe we'll see. Lo and behold, around the time that conversation started stirring up, Herman Dulce, Haitian CEO, he launched his first ever credit repair seminar class in Philadelphia. I'm in New York. He was in Philadelphia. I'm like, I gotta go. Like, I have to go to see what this is for, because as he was kind of breaking down the benefits of having a credit repair company, I'm like, this is screaming my name. I need to go to this class. I need to learn how to do credit repair. This might be the golden ticket that I've been looking for. Not t-shirts, not wholesaling and calling 800 people a day for them to hang up the phone in your face. Credit repair. Go to the class. Mind you, at the time, I had no money. My account was overdrawn. I had nothing. Like, all my money was just all over the place. So I had to borrow some money from some friends to get a ticket. The ticket was like $1,500. Drove out there, went to the class, and then from there, the rest was history, because I was just at that class. I was just exposed to a different level of information I've never been exposed to, surrounded by individuals that I had never been around before. And that was kind of what jump-started me into going headfirst into this credit repair thing, and I haven't looked back since.
For those paying attention, I want to try to dissect a little bit of what you shared right there. So I think one of the first things that I want to identify is that, going back to comedy, you said you knew what you wanted to get out of comedy. So it wasn't a matter of what, it was just a matter of when. You know, so you was confident. I mean, you was in a good space.
Right.
So you knew, okay, at some point, you know, whatever your dreams or goals were within that space was going to pop off. And I feel like a lot of people, they may go into a business or into, you know, some type of opportunity, not having that in mind, like not having the idea of what to quantify, or what to, you know, not having a North Star or guiding light. So they just kind of in it. So I think number one, identifying that. So how are you able to identify exactly what you want to get out of comedy before you even got to credit? And then how was you able to quantify that, and then realize in your mind that it was only going to be a matter of time for when, you know, you was going to get to that particular goal? So I want to touch on that real quick.
No problem. Yeah. So comedy was something I've gravitated towards since from young. Like, when I was in middle school, I was always home alone a lot, and I used to spend a lot of time on the computer. And whenever I was on a computer, I would just turn my webcam on and just talk. Like, I would just speak jibber jabber, whatever it may be, record those videos, put it on YouTube, not even knowing what I'm doing for real, then go back to school the next day, show people those videos, and they would love them. So that was kind of like my introduction to it. And then from there, I started making those videos, and I just didn't stop from middle school going into high school. Me continuously going, I got better and better and better. And at the time of me doing it, nobody else was really doing, you know, comedic content at the time. Everybody and their grandmother wanted to do music. All my friends wanted to be rappers or dancers or whatever it may be. I was the only dude in my high school, you know, coming into my high school, that was making comedic content. So naturally, even though the comparisons aren't apt, the comparisons coming from peers, they're like, oh, okay, oh, you're trying to be Kevin Hart, you're trying to be this, you that, or whatever it may be. So coming into that space and getting those kind of comparisons and feeling myself and seeing myself getting better and better, then transitioning into college, I had a pretty decent amount of success, you know, on the online in terms of my social media presence. I had a couple of videos that I don't want to say they went viral, but they flicked. Like, I had a couple of like comedic videos that did like 100,000 here, 40,000 here, 50,000 here. I started getting recognized in person. People started reaching out to me for like opportunities like this to come and speak and different things. So things just started to click for me in this space. And then from there, what really solidified it for me was my first time going to actually do stand-up, because there's different types of comedy. A lot of times people think you do the social media thing and it'll transition to the stage, two completely different performance acts. But me going to do stand-up comedy for the first time after being inspired from the, response I got from the online was what really let me know I could do this thing, because I went to perform my first time. I did terrible as expected, but even though I did terrible, everyone else in this room did terrible too. And you could kind of see like they were sad, depressed, whatever maybe they were, they were discouraged. The entire time on the train ride home, I came with my friend. The entire time on the train ride home, I'm thinking, how do I get back on that stage? I need to get back on that stage. You understand? So in that moment, kind of just looking at the landscape of everything, I had a bunch of videos that were doing 50 to 100,000 views every time I posted them on, social media. Feeling as comfortable as I did on stage, getting the response and the push from the people around me to, you know, really go headfirst into this thing, I knew that I could do whatever I wanted in the world of comedy. I knew that anything I set my mind to, anything that I told myself I was going to do, I was going to be able to do it. Once again, it was just a matter of time. And then from there, you know, I took off.
All right, cool. So you was able to find some momentum, hone the craft a little bit.
Yes, sir.
You created some content that started to hit. You got a flow, started making more content that hit. And like you said, then you started to become more and more recognizable.
Right.
To the stage, you actually liked that a little bit more than the online thing. Started to kind of get more comfortable. And then you started just to see, all right, I can do this for real.
Right.
It's just going to be a matter of time. So
yes,
then COVID hit, like you said, right? Opportunity come.
Yep.
How do you switch from something where you have the momentum, something where things is really, really building?
Right.
Why not pivot back to online and really start to get it? Maybe through like a you know, one of the sites that you can make money on. You know what I'm saying? What's the one I'm thinking about? What's the one everybody got? What begins with a P? I can't believe I can't even.
Patreon.
Yeah, why not a Patreon? You know what I'm saying? And still like commit to the comedy. Why not get back in it? You know? But then you realize that, okay, I need to make a pivot because I can probably still make it happen. But like you said, the bank account ain't right. Like my family needs me, my people need me. I need a solution right now. So for some people, it's like an emotional thing. Why they maybe stay in the business a little too long, stay in a relationship a little too long. How was you able to like pivot so quickly into something that was so unknown and starting over again from scratch?
It wasn't easy. It was quick, but it definitely wasn't easy. You know, you invest so much time and energy into something for, you know, what feels like an eternity, and then to wake up one day and be like, nah, I got to do something else. Definitely wasn't easy. There was a lot of emotions, but you know, really just when I kind of juxtaposed the two, the pros and the cons of staying in comedy versus making this pivot into credit, the disparity was huge, you know. And I don't want to be one of those people that seems like I'm money minded and you know, money is everything or whatever it may be. It's not everything, but it's definitely very important. I mean, as entrepreneurs, we know it's very important. It's very integral to just about any and everything that you want to do. So for me, like I said, I've always just been smart enough to gravitate towards what clicks for me. And I think that's what helped me to make the transition. You know, remember, I didn't just go from comedy to credit. There was a space in between that where I'm juggling a bunch of different things, trying to find what works. You know, it's not like I went from comedy and I just went to wholesaling and wholesaling was trash. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna stick with it. Now, wholesaling wasn't for me. I'm calling 800 people a day and they curse me out in 80 different languages. On to the next one. Okay, I'm selling t-shirts. Nobody buying my t-shirts. My room is filled with like 8,000 wristbands and nobody trying to buy. I'm on to the next thing. I've always just had this thing where it's like, whatever's for me, you know, and I don't, you know, whatever's for me or whatever I put my hands in, that's not to say that it's going to come to me like that, but things have always kind of just shifted themselves in a way to where I just know in my heart, I was like, all right, this is the next move. So after doing all that bouncing around, when I saw what credit was and what it meant to have, you know, start and own and operate a credit repair company and the benefits that would come from that, it was a no-brainer. You know, like I said, it wasn't easy, but it was necessary, and it was probably one of the best moves I could have ever made.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I think, you know, you and I are just kind of building our relationship right now, but from what I was able to consume in terms of your content on both Instagram and YouTube, I can see that you're very comfortable in this space. I mean, I didn't see you on a comedy on the comedy side, but I can see you're very comfortable where you are. Now,
right.
You're only getting better. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you and I are about to go into a program next week, and we already know what that program is. We already know who's running that program.
Right.
So you know what we're gonna get out of it. So to be in that environment, you know, like it's a level up. You're thinking, okay, cool. There's some gems over here. I'm gonna collect them. I'm gonna implement them right away, right? So, so now I want to talk about like the Philly thing, right? So to dial back on again, when you was giving out the little summary earlier, right?
Right.
You were talking about you saw that there was something out there that you know, this guy was hosting. What was his name again?
Herman Dulce.
Herman Dulce?
The GOAT. If he sees this, the GOAT.
All right, so you saw that he was hosting a seminar.
Yes, sir.
You saw the price of the seminar.
Yes, sir.
You saw what was currently in your wallet and currently in your bank account.
Wasn't much.
It didn't equate at that time.
Nope.
But you knew you needed to be there.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yep.
So there was no fear in that decision to borrow from who you could borrow from, to then invest in yourself, bet on yourself, get to Philly, not necessarily know what was all there, but knew that you just needed to be in a room.
I got to get in the room.
Right? And then once you're in that room, you were able to discern the opportunities, take advantage of the information,
right?
Implement and execute. So let's talk about that. How are you able to not get stuck by the idea of, you know what, I don't actually have that right now. How am I gonna get there? My ego's like, nah, I can't ask. Nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna miss out on this one. How do you avoid that, where I feel like a lot of people end up falling into and they miss opportunities, right? And another thing that I always say is like OPM, other people's money. And obviously, you know, that's where rich and wealthy people take advantage of utilizing credit and utilizing these lines and utilizing business credit and stuff like that. So how are you able to avoid what a lot of people end up doing, to then use OPM to go down there for something that you didn't even really know was there, but you knew you just needed to be in that room?
Had to get in the room.
Put that into a whole new business. Can we talk about that?
Let's talk about it. So first of all, this is something that a lot of people struggle with, right? I remember when the event got announced and the ticket prices came out, I knew I didn't have the money. I knew I needed to go. And anybody who knows me knows I'll bite a bullet before I ask for some money. So if I'm asking you for some money, you know, some serious, I don't ask nobody for nothing. But at the time I'm down bad, I need to do what to do. And I remember going to some of my friends or whatever it may be. I didn't have a large friend group at the time, but I went to a couple people at the time, and everybody who I came to, you know, to borrow money. Now, I wasn't asking for the full 15. I was trying to get like 5 here, 3 here, 2 here. Like I was trying to divvy it up. Everybody that I went to looked at me like side. Nobody was like, oh yeah, go for it. Everybody kind of looked at me like, you sure about this? Or, you know, there was doubt, there was worry, there was concern, as there should be. But, you know, for me, I think what made me feel comfortable making decisions is, once again, going back to what I said before, I've always just had, I don't know, my gut feeling, intuition has always just worked for the best. I've had some slip ups, don't get me wrong, but in my gut, in my heart of hearts, I knew, man, I don't know what's out there, but I know I need to get there. And if I need to make it, I got to find a way to make it happen by any means necessary. So I'm asking people, a lot of people said no, few said yes. I was able to scrape the money together, went out there. And, you know, I think that, you know, one thing that we talk about a lot in the entrepreneurial space is mindset. I remember coming into the entrepreneurship journey, most mentorships that you sign up for, most groups that you sign up for, the first thing that they talk about is mindset. And I remember coming in early on, I was like, oh, let's talk about mindset. Like, let's talk about the money. How can I turn this business to a 7-figure business? How can I become a millionaire tomorrow? I don't want to talk about mindset. But no, it's a real thing, because to your point, the same people that was looking at me crazy for trying to spend $1,500 to go to this class, some of those people were willing to take $30,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 in student loans for a degree. You understand? That they never even touched, that they're not using it. That's not shade. You understand? But that's just to use an example of, it's like, it really all comes down to mindset. You understand? That's, for me, it made sense. If it made sense for me to take $1,500 to put myself in a situation that could ultimately change my life for the better, I'm not thinking about the money, because if the opportunity makes sense, then I'm gonna get that money back and then some. You understand? So it was uncomfortable. It was nothing about it was guaranteed. I could have went out there and got scammed for every last penny, and now I'm down bad. But in the world of entrepreneurship, you need to be able to have that mindset where you understand that you need to put yourself, you need to be willing to take risks, calculated risks. I'm not saying go give $1,500 to every Tom, Dick, and Harry that comes by you, but being able to take the risk that you need be, especially if an opportunity presents itself. You know, I think there's a saying, the lifetime of an opportunity only lasts the opportunity of a lifetime only lasts the lifetime of an opportunity, something along those lines. Basically kind of just saying like, yo, sometimes in life, certain things will present themselves and you'll get this much of a window. I have time to think about, my bank account is overdrawn. My pops is at home sick with COVID. I need to get this 1,500 to figure out how to start this business, to start generating this cash flow for my family. That's the way that I see it. So I had to make sure my mindset was right to where I understood I was willing to make that sacrifice, ask whoever it is I needed to ask to get that bread, to go out there in Philly and take a chance on Herman, take a chance on myself, take a chance on everything. And ultimately it worked out. So I'm thankful.
Yeah, 100%, man. So first, I just want to commend you on that for real, because a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people are not going to, check that ego, hit up some homies or just like get that money together.
Right.
And then go somewhere where they don't know exactly what they're going to get.
Right.
A lot of people looking for a guarantee when we know there ain't no guarantees.
Right.
Right. So for you to just do that and then be able to build what you built thus far, super, super commendable. So I just want to show you some love on that.
Right.
Definitely. And now digging into a little bit of what you actually teach and what you help people with. Why is credit so important? And why should people stop avoiding a bad credit score and to act now to fix it? Why is it so important for people to make credit a priority like other things should be a priority?
Well, credit is easily one of the most important tools in when it comes to establishing financial freedom for yourself. Think about it like this. If I asked you, how long do you think it would take you to save $50,000 to $75,000 cash? Based off your day, save it. How long do you think it would take? I'm asking you directly. How long do you think? You don't have to give me, how much money you make, whatever it is, How long do you think it would take you to save cash, $50,000 to $75,000 for you to make an investment of your own money? How long do you think it would take you, give or take?
Maybe like 18, 24 months.
18, 24 months. Now, what if I told you that you could slice those 18, 24 months down to maybe 3 to 6 months if you learn how to properly structure your credit report? You see that now you're interested.
100%. Yeah.
That tells you everything you need to know. Credit is a tool that puts you in position. People talk about, of course, the typical, low interest rate on a car and, be able to get a house and get a nice job. That's old school stuff. We passed that. Now we're starting to learn that through the power of having great credit, especially if you're an entrepreneur who's looking to invest, who's looking to start businesses, having great credit allows you to build relationships with these creditors and with these banks to where you're able to get funding to do these things. We see people getting Airbnb and Turo and this and that. Trucking is another one. These are all, you got to spend money to make money. If I ask you to save up a certain amount of money, for some people, for you, it may take 18 to 24 months. For someone else, if I ask them how long would it take you to save 50,000, it may take them 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Who has that kind of time?
Yep.
Good credit allows you to leapfrog past all of that, establishing a great relationship with yourself, between yourself and these banks, to where you're able to get the funding necessary to invest in cash flowing assets that can take care of you and your family. So that's why it's extremely important to have great credit.
So what are the basics for people? So if someone is listening right now, if someone's watching right now, right? What are the basic elements within credit that people need to understand? We're not talking about anything that's moderate or advanced. Yeah. But people need to know the basics in terms of what do I need to look for? What if I'm just managing my situation, what are the 2, 3, 4, 5 most important things that I need to maybe have? Like if it's an app, look for, if I'm looking at the report, just be aware of if I'm paying a bill, and obviously my score, like are there different score? You know what I'm saying? Like if for someone that's a novice, just totally avoiding it for whatever reason, or maybe just getting into it, what are the basic things that everyone now should know? Because if you're watching this podcast or listening to this podcast and your credit is in a situation, maybe you're just starting, I want you to at least know the basics.
Right.
So what are the basics someone should be aware of?
Got you. So let's talk about the basics. In order for you to have a great credit score and a great credit profile, you got to understand what these things are made up of, right? So starting out with your credit score, Your credit score, if we're talking about basics, is made up of 5 different factors, right? That's payment history, credit utilization, length of credit history, credit mix, and new credit. If we want to break those things down very quickly, payment history is the most important factor of your credit report, right? Simply put, your payment history is your ability to pay your bills on time. So anything that is reporting on your credit report, you want to make sure that you are paying those things on the website, whether it's a car note, whether it's a mortgage, whether it's an installment loan, whether it's a credit card. The most important thing above any and everything else is that you are paying this thing on time from month to month. I don't care if it's the worst thing, if it's the worst credit card you ever signed up for. I don't care if it's the worst auto loan that you ever co-signed on. If it's on your credit report, you need to make sure that you're paying it on time each and every single month that is due. Then after that, you have credit utilization. Your credit utilization basically is how much of your revolving credit that you're using from a month to month basis, right? So anybody who knows anything about credit utilization, it has been told that, when it comes to credit utilization, you're supposed to keep it 30% and lower. But if you want your credit card utilization rate to be in a position where it's actually positively affecting your credit score and giving you additional points every single month, you really want to keep it in that 2 to 9% range, below 10%, above 1%, right? What does that mean? If you have a credit card that has an $1,000 limit, right? Remember, credit card the utilization rate only affects revolving credit, so really only like credit cards. So if you have a credit card with, like, let's say, a $1,000 limit, average people will tell you, okay, you want to keep it in that around 30%, right? So basically 30% of 1,000, you want to make sure you're never using more than $300 of that limit. But if you want your utilization to actually help your score, you really want to keep it in that 2 to 9% range. So really, if you have a credit card with $1,000 limit, never let it go above $90. Keep it in that $20 to $90 range, and make sure you keep it fluctuating there each and every single month as you're paying the card. Then you have length of credit history, the third most important factor, right? Length of credit history is basically just how old your credit cards are. Now, this is one that I have a personal gripe with, because of all the different factors of your credit score. This is the one that you just have no control over, because this has to do with time, right? No man can control time, right? But your length of credit history is basically how long your credit accounts have been opened up. This is extremely important because banks want to see that you have a long history of being able to deal with creditors and pay your bills on time, right? So if you had a credit card that's been open for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 7 years, the longer it's been opened up, the older your credit accounts are, the more credible you look to lenders that you're going to get funding, to get credit cards, to get lines of credit, right? So that's very important. Then after that, you have credit mix, which is basically the different types of accounts that you have on your credit report. So once again, going to what we said earlier, things like real estate loans, auto loans, credit cards, student loans. Creditors like to see that you have different types of accounts in different forms of credit, not just 18 credit cards, maybe like 3 to 5 credit cards, one auto loan, a mortgage, a couple secured loans from the bank, just to show them that you're able to not just handle debt, but different kinds of debt. That also makes you look very credible to lenders. And last, but certainly not least, also one of my favorite ones, new credit. Basically, how many hard inquiries you have on your credit report. When it comes to this, I tell people this all the time. You never want to have more than 3 hard inquiries on your credit on your credit report for any of the 3 credit bureaus. I see credit reports all the time where people got like 50, 60 inquiries because they go and apply for store credit cards with Best Buy and Target and Victoria's Secret. You never want to have more than 3 hard inquiries on any of your credit reports, because why? As backwards as this may sound, banks don't want to give credit to people who seem like they need it. When you go and apply for 80 different credit cards at the same time, you seem very needy to these banks. They do not want to give credit to you. So 3 is the maximum, 2 is great, 1 is perfect, and that's pretty much it. Those are the 5 factors. We're talking just basics, the 5 factors that people credit score.
So you heard them. There's 5 factors right now. If you're not really certain of what you should be focused on or what you should know about credit, you just going from nothing to learning a little something.
There you go.
Those are the 5 things that you should be aware of.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? So, okay, so now that someone's aware of these things, what are certain apps or maybe certain websites that they can go to get a report, manage their credit? What are some things that they need on their phone right now so they can really start to be more responsible and manage this thing?
Perfect. Great question. So first of all, you can't build on what you don't know, right? You can't fix what's broken if you don't know what's on it, right? So in other words, you need to first get your credit report to see what's on there. The best place for you to go to get a very accurate breakdown of your credit report is identityiq.com. That's identityiq.com. A lot of people use Experian. A lot of people use Credit Karma. I'm not against using, Credit Karma. The only thing though is that when it comes to programs like Credit Karma, sometimes there may be accounts that would show on your Identity IQ that won't show on your Credit Karma, right? So you want to be able to see any and everything that's on your credit report so that you know what you're working with. So the best one for you to be using to get full access to your credit report is Identity IQ. And also what's great about that is it doesn't just give you access to your credit report, but it's a monitoring service. So it allows you to see any and every update that's taking place on your credit report, right? Whether you get a new account, new hard inquiry, whether your utilization is going up or down, whatever is taking place, it's a monitoring service that helps you to make sure you're managing your credit properly. Then from there, now that you have an idea of what your credit report looks like, now let's say, to the point you made earlier, let's say someone's watching this and they don't have no credit at all and they need to figure out what they need to do to start building. Some great ways for you to start building your credit today would you just using apps on your phone. The best one right now, Self-Lender. So Self-Lender is basically a certificate of deposit that reports to your credit report as an installment loan, right? For people who don't know, a certificate of deposit is basically like a savings account that you can't touch for a certain period of time. So now what happens is Self-Lender allows you to basically pay yourself to save, but also build credit because they give you a certificate of deposit. They give you a payment option of $25 every single month. You pay that $25 every single month. It gets stored into a savings account, but it shows on your credit report as an installment loan. So it's building up your credit history, your payment history, and helping you jumpstart your credit. Another program you could look into, this isn't necessarily an app, but it's a website that they could look into, rentreporters.com, right? That's rentreporters.com. Rent Reporters is also another great credit builder that won't do a hard pull on your credit, but you can also use to start building your credit up. It's basically just a website that reports your payment history of rent to your credit report to the bureaus. It doesn't report to all three. It only shows on TransUnion and Equifax, but it's also a great way for you to start building your credit today if you have little to no credit at all. And also, one of the great things about it is it actually backdates your history. So remember how I said earlier how length of credit history is the one thing you have no control over because of time. With Rent Reporters, it's set up in a way to where it backdates your history up to 2 years to give you that extra age that you need to make your credit profile look stronger. If you aren't in a situation where you actually are paying rent, that's perfectly fine. If you, like for example, if you live with your family, you can just put that you're renting from your mom or your aunt or whoever it may be. The confirmation process is super simple, super easy, and it's very cheap, right? And you can sign up for that. It reports on your credit report. Now, boom, you have Self-Lender it is helping bolster your credit. You have Rent Reporters also helping you bolster your credit, and you're off to the races.
All right, man. So look, hope you guys are paying attention. We talked about the Rent Reporters right there. So all you got to do is pay your rent, and you paying your rent, which you're currently already doing,
right,
is going to show as positive reporting on your credit report.
Boom.
Also, Self-Lender.
Yep.
Which I used in the past. So if you guys are first learning on that, he already said Self-Lender is something that's going to basically the money that you're saving for yourself, they're just going to report it at the end.
Right.
They're going to report it, and then at the end, you're going to be able to get your money back.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
So Self-Lender is something else that you can definitely tap into. So now, man, let's talk about. You made a couple of references to being down bad personally. At a time in your life. Switching it to this category.
Right.
What if someone is down bad right now with credit? Their score is awful.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Their profile is jacked up.
Mm-hmm.
They can't get a credit card.
Right.
They can't buy a car.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for them to get a job in some situations. And it may be hard for them to even rent an apartment.
Mm.
So if you're really jammed up right now and you're watching this and you're listening to this, I number one first advise you to check out Marv on his personal pages and get a lot of drip. But I want him to share some things right here.
Okay.
If you're in a fucked up situation with your credit, what are the things that they should be doing right now? Maybe some things that they should stop doing.
Okay.
Obviously, it's mindset, right? Maybe some things they should stop doing. But what are some things that should be putting in play immediately that start setting off a good situation for them to get their credit right?
Okay. So first thing that you wanted to do, if you have bad credit, you shouldn't be applying for more credit. That's rule number one. A lot of times what happens is people will have terrible credit, but then still be going credit crazy, applying for cards left and right. That's the last thing that you should be doing because you cannot build on what's broken. You want to fix your foundation first before you continue to add on it, right? So if your credit is bad, you should not be applying for more cards. You shouldn't be, you shouldn't be looking to keep adding, more cards or accounts, whatever it may be. You want to fix what's there first before you start adding on. So that's number one. Stop applying for new cards. Number two, let's say you're like a lot of my clients come from a situation where you tried to go with a credit repair company. Maybe it didn't work out too well. And you're like, Marvin, what are some things I could do on my own to start fixing my credit? There are several things you could do. So one big thing that you could do, let's say you have some negative accounts on your credit report, like a collection or maybe a closed credit card with some late payments. You can call into the credit reporting agencies like Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax and have them remove all of your old addresses and names that are on your credit report. Right now, almost every person that if you go and check your credit report, if you haven't already, if you check it and it's your first time looking at it, what you'll see is that you'll have a bunch of different names that are on your credit report for different agencies and a bunch of different places of employment and a bunch of different old addresses that are on there. What a lot of people don't know is a lot of times when you have negative information on your credit report that you try and dispute on behalf of, the credit agencies will use all that old information that's on there, any and all information that's on there to help verify and validate why that account should stay on there. So it's important before you go into anything that you remove all those old addresses for places that you don't live at anymore, places you don't work at anymore, any misspellings of your name. Like, if you go sometimes, like my name is Marvin Francois. I remember when I checked my credit report, it was like 4 different versions of it. It was like Francois Marvin and Marvinito, Francisco, all these different things. All those excess names and addresses, you want to remove them to help improve your chances of getting those negative items off, right? So that's the second thing that you want to do. And the third thing that you want to do, if you want to work on your own behalf, is start sending dispute letters to the credit reporting agencies on behalf of these negative items, right? One tip I'll give everybody, when you're sending disputes to Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax on behalf of negative items, if you want to do it for yourself, when you're sending these disputes to these agencies, whatever kind of dispute letters you're sending, you also want to reach out to what's called the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. I'm going to say that again. CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is a bureau that oversees all the credit reporting agencies, right? Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, LexisNexis, SayStream, is a bunch of them. But basically what happens is when you dispute not just with the agencies, but you also reach out to the CFPB and you send a complaint, they also double down on your disputes and help to increase the efficiency of you getting the negative items off, because they're kind of like the big brother of the credit reporting agencies. When you send a complaint to them, they double down and come back and be like, yo, what's this on this report? So now you've removed all old information off your credit report and you've reached out to the big brother of the credit reporting agencies. You now put yourself in better position to increase your chances of getting these negative items off. You get those negative items off, your credit report is in better standing, credit report's in better standing, you can go apply for those cards you want, life is good, you understand? And then you go from there.
What's that process like? So if somebody's down bad right now, what can they expect? Like whether they're doing it on their own. Obviously, I feel like, if you're doing it on your own, there's a learning curve, so it may take you a little longer. But right. If someone's utilizing your services and they're down bad, let's say they got something in the 5s, what I'm saying, and they want to be maybe low 7s, or they want to break that 700 mark. What should they be expecting in terms of time-wise that's realistic for them to get into something like where they can go?
Got you. That is my favorite question in the space of credit repair, because if I had $1 for every time someone reached out to me and asked how long is it going to take to get my credit repair? How long is it going to take to get this item off? I would have enough money to where me and Bezos would be on a boat together right now. You understand me? Like that's how often I get that question. And I appreciate
it. Sounds like you may need to write a book with that title.
Maybe. It's like if I got to do it, I'm going to do it. You understand me? But I appreciate that question because I know everybody gets anxious when it comes to getting their credit report and they want it to happen ASAP because they want to do all the great things that come with good credit. And I get it, but it's a process. On average, it could take anywhere from 3 to 6 months, but there's no real set timetable on credit repair. I say this all the time. I have negative accounts on one credit report that may take me 1 month to get off. That on another credit report take me like 6 months, 7 months of disputing to get off. You understand? It varies for everybody. Everyone is different. That's why even on my personal page, I don't know if you noticed, I really don't post results like that. The reason I don't post results like that is not because I don't get them. My company gets them. The problem is a lot of times I'll post results and I have other clients that will just that have been rocking and rolling with me for a certain amount of time. And they're like, well, what's going on with my credit report? I still got a student loan, this and that and that. And I don't want to, get people thinking that we're neglecting clientele or whatever it may be, but it takes time. You have to be patient. You also have to understand that, and I'm happy that you said what you said about if they're trying to get to the 7s or 8s. One of the keys of credit repair and just credit in general is to understand your credit score does not matter. You want to focus on your credit profile, not your credit score. Why do I say that, right? You could have a 750 credit score and still get denied for things that somebody with a 680 could get approved for. Why is that? Well, the reason being is because you can get a 750 credit score with just one secured card that you paid for like 5 to 6 months. You can get a 750 credit score with one trade line that you got off your Aunt Annie's, Capital One credit card that she's letting you piggyback off of. But now, if you take that same credit profile and go to the dealership and try and get, that car, the Hellcat, whatever, or you try and get that house on the hills, they're going to laugh you out of the bank. You understand what I'm saying to you? Why? Because your credit profile is not strong enough. So the reason why I say that is because when it comes to getting your credit fixed, a lot of times your score will fluctuate. Sometimes getting a negative item off will boost your score. Sometimes it'll drop your score. Doesn't matter. Once you get your credit report clean, it doesn't matter if it brings your score all the way down to a 500. Or from there, it's only going to go up because now you get to build on what's already there, right? The focus is not the score because you can have a great score, but a trash credit profile. But if you have a great credit profile, the score is going to come. If it don't come today, it's going to come tomorrow. So another thing, that's another big thing. Be patient and remember that your credit score does not matter. It's your credit profile that matters.
Man, you just dropped a lot of gems right there. So for those that are thinking you should only focus on the score,
right?
You really be focusing on that profile because, like you said, you can have that 750,
can't do nothing,
and be laughed out the bank.
Yep.
How you elegantly put it.
Yep.
Or you can have that 680 and keep busting moves left and right.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the truth.
So that's a big thing right there. So for a lot of viewers that are watching, a lot of people that are listening, and then, if you're someone that needs to work on this situation and you haven't really thought about cleaning up or really focusing on that profile and you're kind of fixated on that score, definitely start looking into that profile for sure.
Always.
So another thing that I want to talk about a little bit is protecting that personal credit, right? So can we talk a little bit about business credit? You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Can you explain to people the opportunities that await them when they start to open up business credit and establish business credit, and then how that works in conjunction with protecting their personal credit?
Yeah, most definitely. So for those people who don't know, business credit is basically just credit that you're getting in your business's name, right? So when you get personal credit, that is credit that's directly attached to your social security number. So that's credit that you're getting in your name. However, with business credit, that's credit that's connected to your EIN, your employer identification number of your business, right? So that's credit that you're getting in your business's name. Now, what's great about business credit is that when it comes to personal credit, remember we talked about credit utilization, right? Credit utilization is one of the 5 factors that makes up your score. So let's say you get a credit card from Navy Federal for $20,000 with a $20,000 limit, and you want to use that $20,000 to go invest in Turo. You want to use that $20,000 to go invest in Airbnb. You want to use that $20,000 to go invest in real estate. If you take that money off that credit card to go use it, that entire $20,000, what's going to happen is you're using 100% of that credit limit, and it's going to negatively affect your score and drop and mess up your profile. It's going to mess up your score and drop your score, right? Whereas if you get $20,000 on a business credit card, it doesn't matter if you use $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. The beautiful thing about business credit is that because it's in your business's name, it does not show up on your personal credit report. Therefore, you don't have to worry about keeping your utilization rate for that card between the 2 to 9% range. You can use the entire amount of that credit card to go invest in whatever it is that you want to do without it negatively affecting your personal credit report.
Can you say that one more time for people that may have not been fully paying attention? I think that is something that people need to know.
Most definitely. So once again, the beautiful thing about business credit is that unlike personal credit, it's credit that's connected to your business, right? It's credit that you're getting in your business's name. So with a personal credit card, remember, because you have the utilization rate that you have to be mindful of, even if you get a $50,000 limit on a personal credit card, you shouldn't be using all 50,000 because your utilization for that credit card can only be in that 2 to 9% range. So if you want to use that personal credit card to go invest in whatever it may be, you can use it, but now it's going to negatively affect your score. Now you're going to have to work your way up again. The beautiful thing about business credit and business credit cards and lines of business credit do not report on your personal credit report since it's in your business's name. Therefore, if you get a $30,000 business credit card, 50,000, whatever it may be, you can use all that entire credit limit to go invest whatever it is that you want to do, that thus protecting your personal credit report and not negatively affecting your credit score.
So is that something that you would recommend clients to do as far as open up a business and start establishing business credit?
Yes and no. This is where we go back to mindset, right? I'm not going to advise anybody to go and get business credit who's not prepared for prepare for what it actually means to have it and use it properly, right? So one thing that comes with business credit is, there's a method of getting business credit called personal guarantee. In the credit space, we call it PGing, right? So basically what a personal guarantee is, although business credit typically does not report on your personal credit report, banks will use your personal credit report almost like a co-signing of a loan. They'll use your personal credit report to see if you can get approved or denied for any business credit that you're looking to apply for, right? But what happens is, in the event that let's say you get a credit card for $10,000 from, I don't know, a business credit card from Navy Federal, right? $10,000. You use all that $10,000 that's on that business credit card, but you don't pay it back because remember, credit is just a tool, right? It's still debt. That's one big thing that I feel like isn't talked about enough. Everybody's cuckoo for credit, but doesn't remember that it's not the end all be all. It's just a means of you establishing cash flow. So if you get a $10,000 credit card, you use that $10,000. That $10,000 that you use don't just magically disappear. You got to pay the bank back that money. It's a loan. But now, with the way that business credit works is that even though it doesn't report on your personal credit report, if you borrow that money, use it, but don't pay it back, it can now appear on your personal credit report and negatively affect your credit report, right? So I would only advise for people to get business credit if they know what they're doing and they're ready for the risk that comes with that reward. Right? Don't just go get business credit just to get it, to say you got it. And then next thing you know, you find yourself, tens of thousands of dollars in debt. Your personal credit score is messed, your personal credit report is messed up. Now you 15 steps back because you just rushed to get something that you weren't prepared for, So yeah.
So that goes back to the education, and also obviously the mindset, like you said, you're gonna step into that arena. You want to make sure that your mind is prepared for that. And you're not stepping in there with, old thoughts, old habits,
right?
The same type of place that you've been running that got you into a bad situation to begin with.
Right.
If you just got your personal credit back up and you have a business or you're starting to establish a business and you're starting to get, make the moves to get business credit, you want to make sure, like you said, that you're ready to take on that responsibility and fully understand what you're stepping into.
Most definitely.
So what's something else you may want to share with the viewers and the listeners around credit that you feel like maybe people should understand or maybe should just know about credit in general, or and obviously I want them to tap in with you, so definitely let them know where they can also find you and stuff like that. Is there anything that you feel like people should just know or pay attention to, or another gem that you want to drop?
When it comes to credit, make sure you guys are establishing relationships with banks. So once again, credit is a loan, right? And if you are watching this and you foaming at the mouth because you're excited to go get business credit, that's great. I'm happy for you and I'm looking forward to walking you through those steps. But one big thing that you need to understand about credit is that banks are more privy to giving the business credit and just credit in general to people they already have established relationships with. So if you're looking to get business credit or just credit in general, one of the first things you should look to do before you start going crazy for credit is establishing a relationship with that bank by opening a personal and or business check-ins account with them first, right? So when you open that personal or business check-ins account with them first, you want to keep that business or checking that personal or that bank account, keep it open for anywhere from 3 to 6 months and have consistent deposits coming in. It doesn't have to be a crazy amount. It could be $500 a month, or maybe $50 to $100 a week, whatever it may be. But what happens when you do this is the bank sees you as somebody that's actually looking to establish a long-standing relationship with them, right? Because the bank has what are called looks at what are called data points. So the data points are basically the different factors the banks are the different factors that they want to look at to see if they want to approve or deny you for credit. You help to improve your chances and you work in favor of those data points when you have a relationship with that bank first versus, you just going crazy and saying, hey, give me $50,000 to go start a real estate. It's like dating. You understand? Like, imagine you meet a girl and the first day you see me like, yo, you want to come back to the crib? It's like, no. You got to take them on a date first. You got to text them a little bit, FaceTime them a little bit. I'm talking about, you got to build it up. And then you go handle your business. Same thing with the banks. The banks want to give you the money, but you got to wind and dine them a little bit. Hey, look, Bank of America, hold us 100 this month. I come back next month, drop another 100. You know what I'm saying? Get next month, drop another 100. Now 6 months later, you come around like Bank of America. How you doing? Listen, can I just let me hold 20,000? Like, you've been holding it down for the past 6 months. Gave them a little money. All right, here, hold this business credit card. Thank you. Very, very important that I would love for the viewers to know. Definitely establish a relationship with these banks. I think that's pretty much it.
All right, bro. So look, if they want to tap in with you, if they need your services on the credit repair, maybe a consultation, coaching, where can they go? I mean, I already said it earlier, YouTube and Instagram.
Right.
Definitely drop those channels so they know exactly where to go.
Right.
To get your knowledge and expertise and to work with you personally, you and your team.
Right. So you can reach out to, if you're interested in getting credit repair, or even not just credit repair. If your credit is fine and you're looking to build it. My company also sells trade line. We also offer trade lines, offer 1,400 different trade lines to choose from to help you boost your credit. We're also just starting to offer, we haven't offered it yet, but we're working on getting business funding for a lot of people. You can reach out to us for francoiscapital.com. You can go on there. You can book a free consultation to talk to me my team, and they'll sit down with you and walk you through whatever it is that you need to get from them. That's Francois, it's at the bottom, FRANCOIS capital.com. You could tap in. Or if you just want to reach out to me directly, you can catch me on my Instagram at Marvin Francois, _, YouTube, Marvin Francois, Facebook at Marvin Francois. I respond to any and all DMs 24/7. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, and of course I mentioned YouTube again, but subscribe to the YouTube as well. I post credit related content on Instagram, but I really go more in depth on my YouTube channel, breaking down any and everything that my audience wants to see, from how to repair credit, how to build credit hacks, tips, ways to maneuver around credit to get things like free flights and things of that nature. It's all on my YouTube channel. So
yeah, I mean, we could get into that too. I mean, that's a whole nother topic, man. So right. And it's already been some time. So I want you guys to, if you want to learn about credit arbitrage, how to utilize credit to get free hotels for flights, travel, reward points, things like that. Definitely tap in directly with Marv on that YouTube page, and then reach out to him on Instagram and things like that, man. So on your journey, right now with your business, what are you currently on a pursuit towards?
In terms of impact, financial, what are we talking about?
Whatever you want to share, bro. I know we're doing a lot over here.
Okay. What am I on the pursuit towards? I mean, money doesn't mean much to me, to be honest with you. Obviously, like I said before, you need it, but that's not really my motivation. Coming into this space, I'm very fortunate to be in a position now where, my business is doing well and I'm doing well and things of that nature. But what really pushes me to continue to build this brand and push this business each and every single day is the impact. There's nothing that brings me more joy than knowing that I help put somebody in position to become a first-time homeowner, put somebody in position to help them, go and invest in real estate, invest in starting their own business. There's nothing that brings me more joy than knowing that a person dealt with like 8 different credit repair companies before mine that robbed them of their money. I'll share this with you. I had a woman tell me I'll never forget this number. The most she ever spent on credit repair with one company was $4,726.53. I'll never forget that number. $4,726.53.
What was the result?
There was no result. And I'm on a call with her. I'm like, man, like, how long did you let them fix your credit? It's like, well, they told me wait 2 to 3 years. I said 2 to 3 years. Two to three years. I almost fought somebody that night, brother. It was not a pleasant sight, but you know, having people like that come from that and then come over to my company and we take care of them like that, you know, things like that really do warm my heart. And just generally speaking, just being able to provide value and information for my community, like seeing people who look like me, who are my age, come from the community I come from, learning about credit because of a video I created or because they tapped in with my company or whatever it may be. Those kind of things get me up bright and early every single morning and make me just go out there and attack my purpose. So where do I see my company going? I see my company going bigger and beyond, you know, just credit repair. I see us being able to establish more resources within our business to help people get business funding, learn as much as possible about credit, you know, no matter whether they're 5 years old, 15 years old, 50 years old. And I see it becoming a nationwide brand that helps to educate and put people of color in position to just get whatever they need to get one step closer to financial freedom.
Well, Brother Lifton, I appreciate you being here. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate all the gems you dropped.
Thank you.
There's a lot in here, and there's more on a YouTube page. And if you need these services, make sure you tap into Marvin. This is the ONE THE PRST Podcast. I'm Brendan Boyd. He's Marvin Francois. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys on another episode.